Hey, everybody, and welcome to the 9 to Side podcast, where we chat with super amazing and inspirational people who pounded the pavement before and after their 9 to 5s to get their side hustles off the ground. After listening to the interviews with these amazing guests, you'll walk away with a refreshed pep in your step and a newfound motivation to make your side hustle a reality. Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 8 of season 1. And yeah, I don't know if anybody else is feeling this way. I'm sure they are because of COVID, but I am feeling like I'm headed for a mini nervous breakdown. I can always see it. I have like quarterly nervous breakdowns where I've just basically, as my dad likes to say, burn the candle at both ends, and then there's no candle left and I'm running on fumes, and then I kind of have a breakdown and have to build myself back up. So that's how I'm feeling right about now. But my next guest kind of reminds me of this because listening to her story, I was just so overwhelmed by an awe, actually is a better word for it, of, kind of how she kept things going when she had 2 little kids and she was working. I mean, she talked about, putting her kids to bed, setting the alarm and waking up and working at night on projects, which is crazy. So I should say she's in the interior design space, which is, I always have just like such fangirl appreciation for people that are in, this kind of space where it involves a particular eye, making things beautiful, which is what she does, and picking things out, because I have none of that. I feel like my husband always says that our house could use a woman's touch, and I obviously have no touch. So that's why our house looks like it does. But she is incredibly talented. And she has 2 little boys, a husband and a full-time job. And she still takes on side projects under the umbrella of her side hustle. It's now a side hustle, but Sarah Little Designs, which is her own business. And she'll talk about that during the interview. But yeah, she does incredible stuff. She makes everything look amazing. And like I said, I have no talent like this at all. So it was great to talk to her and learn more about her side hustle. So without further ado, this is my interview with Sarah Little.
My name is Sarah Little. Mm-hmm. I'm from Northern Virginia. I moved to Brooklyn and then to Connecticut. So people think I'm from Brooklyn, but I actually grew up in Virginia. And my side hustle, I guess, is Sarah Little Designs, which I guess my story is kind of backwards from probably most of the people you talk to, because my side hustle came first before my actual hustle.
Yeah, it totally makes hustle. So would you consider it a side, Sarah Little Designs, is it currently your side hustle? Would you consider it a side hustle?
Yes, it's currently my side hustle. So what happened was I finished grad school in 2008, right as the economy was tanking, and first jobs to get cut were designers. And I was new to the market. So I was lucky to have a job for a little while, but I got laid off when I was pregnant with my first son, Dylan. And there were no jobs. It was like the economy was a disaster in 2010. So I was like, okay, I'll be a stay-at-home mom. That was not my plan, but here we are. This is what we're doing. And it was great. And then in the middle of all that, we moved from Brooklyn to Connecticut. And being the stay-at-home mom ended up being a really good thing because my husband was gone like 13 hours a day. So I was really like the primary parent. But I missed design work. So I started Sarah Little Designs. I guess it was a part-time side hustle to being a mom as my full-time job. So I was doing decorating jobs and renovations for friends, but it was very minimal. I never worked full-time because
You just came up because it was your name and you were like, I'm going to start. Like, how did you just decide you wanted to start working? So did you just reach out to people? How did you get your first client?
That's a good question. I worked for a little bit at a furniture store where we designed services. So it was like a home furniture store, but you could hire one of the salespeople to come to your house, do an evaluation, and then put together like a whole room for you. So I was doing that on the weekends for a little bit just because we needed extra cash flow. And that was when Dylan was really little. And somebody I was working with there was like, can I just hire you directly? And I don't want to go through your store, but I just want to work with you. So I had to kind of scramble, and I was not creative in a pinch. So I called myself Sarah Little Design.
I love it.
Yeah, it worked. my community became like my kids' preschool and everyone knew what I did. And so people just started asking me, oh, like, oh, can you help me with this room? Can you do this bathroom for me? So it just was like little bit, and I never got more creative about the name, but
And how did you manage, like when you were doing it, were you just kind of taking on as much as you could handle? Because it was just you. You weren't like looking to hire or expand. You were just doing
correct.
kind of what you could do while still, like, was being a mom still your main focus? And you were just
100%. I was
okay.
mom first. I only took on one or two things at a time. And there were times when I was really busy and I was like, why am I doing this? Like, I don't have to do this. But there was one year we had to renovate our house because it flooded in Sandy. So we had to lift it.
Where did it flood? Like not this house, not the one
This
you're in.
house, the house I'm in.
It did.
Yeah. We live by the water, and Hurricane Sandy wrecked most of the houses in our neighborhood because we live on an island. So we had to actually, most of the houses have now been lifted. They put my house like on car jacks and like.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was wild. So we had to move out for a year while that happened. So we were living in this rental that was kind of crummy. At that point, had Jagger was my second baby. And I was chairing a huge fundraiser for the preschool. And I had this big Sarah Little Designs job. This woman in Westport was hiring me to do all these rooms. So I would actually set my alarm for midnight. I would sleep, wake up in the middle of the night to work, and then go back to sleep.
Wait, what time would you go to sleep and then set your alarm for midnight to wake up?
Probably 9. I don't know. Maybe I was setting it for 2. I don't know. I remember like having to set an alarm to wake up in the middle of the night to get work done. Otherwise, I couldn't because I had a 4-year-old and a baby. And the baby was like all over the place. And I was doing all these other things. And I wasn't even in my house.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
And my husband was never around. I was kind of dark that year.
It was kind of a low period. Plus, I feel like your particular side hustle is very like creative, and people are asking you to be like, I don't know, design stuff. It's not something where you're sitting at your computer and doing like data entry or something. So
right. Some days like you just don't have it. Creativity.
Yeah, so I would like imagine that.
It'd be like, okay, Tuesday afternoon, the kids are doing this. I have 3 hours to work, but then like if I don't have it, I don't.
Well, and also if you have it at the wrong time, like basically you're being asked, and this is what I think is so challenging about side hustles. And especially if you're a mom to like young kids and you do have something like that, it's like you have a window of time of maybe, I don't know, 3 hours if they're napping or they're off at school or whatever it is. And those are your 3 hours and you have to be on, and that's your time. And if you're not feeling it, then like, what do? That was your given time for the day to do that. So, I mean, and didn't you have deadlines? I mean, when you were doing this and you're kind of you're taking it, it's your own business that you started or your own, whatever you wanted to call it at that point, you had deadlines, right? So
I did. Yeah. So it was hard. And I had a really big job that was a friend of mine from here moved to Indiana, and she bought this house that needed a lot of work. So that was probably my biggest job. We gutted her kitchen and bathrooms. And so I had to do it was more than just a small decorating job. Like I had to actually do architectural drawings for a contractor to build off of. And I flew out to Indiana a bunch, and it was very exciting. But that was another time where I would just work all night because I couldn't fit it in during the day. And I had to push and push. And sometimes it was like,
I mean, and once you take that on, it's kind of like, did you have help at that point? Because are you designing and then working with people who are going out and getting
buying stuff? So actually, I modeled my business or the way I designed. In some cases, I did order items for people, but in most cases, I didn't. I would select everything and put together a package, and then they would be on their own to order whatever we were the furniture and the pillows and whatever. I wouldn't get involved with that because I just couldn't handle it.
Oh, okay. So you would sit down with the client, your process was they would hire you, you'd sit down with them, you look at the space and then you would give them all the ideas that you had, lay it out for them exactly what they should do, and then send them on their way with basically a playbook.
Exactly. Yes.
That's a great idea. I actually haven't do other designers.
Well, no, because designers make money, or decorators. So design and decorating are a little different. And so this is more decorating, like sourcing furniture and furnishings. And all decorators who are all really wealthy make their money buying the products and marking them up. So I wasn't doing that.
How do you categorize yourself? You're an interior designer. Explain.
So I'm an interior designer. I went to school. It was actually, I think my degree is in interior architecture. And now my day hustle is I work at a design firm. So we do gut renovations and we do architectural drawings but we also select the finishes and the furnishings and the details. So it's like a true design of the whole space. As Sarah Little Designs, some of my work was like that. Like if I was doing a bathroom or a kitchen, that was more, I guess, design work. But often my job was like to pick furniture, rugs, pillows, kind of pull together furnishings. That's more of like a decorator.
Is there one that you like over the other? Do you like them both, or?
I don't like decorating. I mean, I do. I don't like decorating for other people, I guess.
Okay. So what you're doing now is it still, what's the name of this?
Locust Design. I'm actually using their Zoom for this call. So
this
shameless plug.
This is your full-time job, your day job right now.
My day job. So around the time my younger son Jagger was about to go to kindergarten, and I was getting a little bored because he was already preschool was more full day. Dylan was in elementary school, so I had less like momming to do. So I was getting a little bored. So I was getting like, okay, maybe I should either take Sarah Little Designs to the next level or do something else. And I was still just trying to figure that out slowly.
Was Sarah Little Designs like this whole time though was still like you had it going? It was just going at your own pace. It was just like it was a flow.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
Like to really take it to the next level. Like all my clients were like my friends or friends of friends, local stuff. I would have had to like really put myself out there to kind of get the big clients and start taking on like ordering and doing more to make more money, to make it something that actually provided for us. And I just was, so I was like, so is that what I want to do? Or do I want to go work? What do I want to do? And then as I was still trying to figure that out, my husband quit his job to start his own company. I was like, well, one of us need like a steady paycheck and like health benefits. Like I'm not really sure how this is going to work. So I immediately went and started interviewing, and somehow I convinced Locust Design to hire me. So
Have you worked there before? Do you know anybody there? Or
no. It was like I went into this interview and I really thought it was going to be. Have you seen Yes Day?
No.
Oh, the mom
no.
Where they it's this cute movie. The mom hasn't worked in many, many years. She goes to like an ad agency to have an interview, and they were like thanks but no thanks. We want someone young who we can abuse. You're too old and not qualified because you've been out of the workforce for so long. So it's a corporate interiors firm. It was sort of new at the time in the market. The partners that started it had been in the market for a long time, but they were starting something new. So they were trying to get some new blood in the corporate interior world around here is small. So that's why I got the job, because it was someone new and different, not the same old players. But they actually hired me to project manage. So I don't do as much design work there. I manage projects, which is actually more like being a mom, because I feel like mom is just project managing.
Do you like the work that you're doing now? Is it good? Like, is it easy to balance with the kid stuff too? Are you back full time? Do you have to go into the office? And
so it was all sort of amazing how it all played out, because when they first hired me, they weren't ready for me full time. And they knew I was like transitioning from this whole different world. So I worked in the beginning, I think 3 days a week and then 4 days a week. And then I started working full time, and I was there a few months, and then COVID happened and we all started working from home, so then I was like around my kids and working full time, and that was great. But also the other thing I really love about Locust is the woman who started it did it to have a better work-life balance.
Oh, that's cool.
Because she has kids the same age. So she really stresses, like, take time to go to your kids' holiday concert.
Oh, that's
She really stresses that work-life balance. So that was great. And then with COVID, I've been home for like 2 years. We just started going back to the office a few months ago, 3 days a week. So I get to be home 2 days.
And the office is Greenwich, you said?
Yeah, we're in Greenwich.
You're in Greenwich. That's nice. I mean, that's so rare too, because I feel like a lot of people that I'm talking to for side hustles, it's rare that you get to have a full-time hustle that is also in the same area.
Right.
It says your side hustle. So at least you're doing something of it. It's not like you're working at like Chase Bank and you know what I mean?
Right. No, I am
tell her.
It's funny, jobs I'll take now as Sarah Little Designs are not as do like a room here and there for someone, but I'll also do other things. Like my friend sells ice, and he was trying to market fancy ice cubes to bars. So he asked me to style his ice photo shoot. I was like,
oh, that's so cool.
So it's just really like, I don't know. I guess it's evolving.
So you're working your full time, but like Sarah Little Designs is still alive and well. Cause I know on your Instagram, you had said like, it's time to put it on pause.
Yes.
For a moment. Was that when you took the job at Locust?
That was when I went to Locust. And I have quietly done a few little jobs still as Sarah Little Designs. I think now they know what I'm doing.
They knew what you're doing on this. Like, yeah.
As long as it doesn't interfere with work.
Right.
Or like be a conflict. Like I would never take a corporate interiors job and not do it through Locus. The same time, some of my corporate clients have come to me and said, will you do my house? And I'll filter that through Locus.
Oh, okay. So is it not conflicting if is Locus corporate and residential, or is it just corporate?
No,
Like,
it's
no.
corporate. We do corporate interiors. We do medical facilities. We've done some salons.
But so if somebody, one of your Locus clients was like, I want you to do my house, would they care if you did that under the your Sarah Little brand?
I don't know if they would care, but it's easier because then I can do it during work hours.
Do you want to continue? Do you see like something else happening with Sarah Little Designs, like it evolving to do like different stuff under that? Or do you love like the full-time consistency, reliability of working for a company like Locus where you can do the stuff you love, but you don't have to worry about a lot of the other stuff?
If Jason all of a sudden was making millions of dollars and I didn't have to work, I would probably not work full time.
Mm-hmm.
And I would pursue just doing what I wanted under my own umbrella. Love to like style parties and decorate people's porches for the holidays, like stuff like that. And if I could make a gig out of that and not have to go to work every day. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that sounds good. Well, okay. So I have a question, and this is still in the vein of your side hustle, but I've just in reading your bio, which is so interesting because you went to law school and then you went down this path of like, then you got into interior design, but you're also so interested in like food and entertaining and feeding people that I'm like, I feel like you have another like side hustle bubble that you could easily go down like a different route. Like, I just think you are a very creative person, obviously. And there's just like a lot of different avenues you could go, but like, do you feel like interior design and the stuff you do with like Locus and Sarah Little is like your true passion? Or do you feel like food and entertaining, like there's so much in kind of like your Instagram and your lifestyle stuff is so like, you're so like, I love following you on Instagram.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Your lifestyle brand is cool.
So yeah, like that is my passion. Truth is I have exorbitant student loans from Pratt from going to design school.
Yeah.
If I had taken a minute to explore what my interests were before I jumped into grad school, I may not. I love design and I love what I do. And I love both Locus and both Sarah Little Design. But if I didn't have loans and have these expenses, maybe I wouldn't. I would pursue food and entertaining and something else. I really want to farm.
Well, give a little background because I think you're so interesting and cool and quirky. And I've been pushing. I still think you should do a lifestyle blog. I follow you obsessively, like aspirationally, because it's so far from any life that I would ever have. I hate cooking. I like could not grow a crop to save my life. But I'm like, it just looks so dreamy. Like, so just tell everybody you live on this magical island. Like, I just give a little background and like you have this like tank or whatever pool, you grow your own. Just give us a little background about your life, a little snippet.
Okay, so I was living in Brooklyn and my husband's from Westport. He grew up on the water. He's a sailor. I think he was done with the city. I don't think he ever really wanted to live in the city. I was not. I was very into Brooklyn and I loved living in the city. And one day he was like, Sarah, we got to go look at this house. And this was when the market was at like rock bottom in 2010. When I just lost my job and had a baby. So like looking at houses was not on my mind. And it was a horrible day. We drove out here. It was the Friday before Labor Day. So traffic was horrendous. It took us like 5 hours to get from Brooklyn to South Norwalk, where my house is. And I was so mad. Like, it was just not what I wanted to do. I was like, why are we even looking at a house? We have no money. Like, what are you, like, you're an idiot. I hate you. And then we drove onto this island and it was like, so it's not really, it's actually a peninsula. There's a road that connects us. But the house was like condemned. It was a dump. It was disgusting. It was falling apart. It was full of mold. It had been vacant. This old woman lived here. She no longer lived here. It was a dump. But so it was a dump, but it was 2010 when the market was rock bottom. So Jason was like, if we can get it cheap enough, we'll slowly fix it up. It'll be our weekend house. We'll stay in Brooklyn. I was like, okay, make an offer. So he made an offer. They said no. We made another offer. They said no. And I said, okay, we're done. And I went out with my friends and I came back back and he was like, well, I have something to tell you. He had made one more offer and it was accepted. So next thing I know, we own a house. So it's like, okay, we're going to slowly fix up this house. And his dad lives nearby and it's retired and likes to do stuff. So it's like, okay, him and his dad are going to have this project over many, many years, fix up this house. I'll stay in Brooklyn. And then we go to the closing to sign the papers. So that was actually like 10 years ago to the day almost.
Oh, you've been there 10 years.
10 years. Well, we bought it, 2010. And then it had to be fixed up a little. So Jason and his dad did a little bit of work. And we did hire someone to help a little bit, make it livable.
Right.
We moved in the following summer. It was still like, we lived in squalor. 2015, we moved out, and that's when we got money to lift our house and finish renovating it. So when we lifted, we got new windows, we got new siding. Oh, we also had like no baseboard or window trim. So like, well, that was the other thing. So when Jason tricked me into moving out here from Brooklyn, he was like, well, now you can find, and I was getting an interest in gardening and seasonal food. And so that was kind of how he
lured you into here.
He's like, you can have your garden. I was like, okay.
Well, so would you incorporate any of this into, I guess the reason I ask is like, and people who follow you on Instagram, but would you incorporate something like tie it all into Sarah Little Designs to kind of make yourself like a brand across the board? Like, and you're creative in food preparation, you're creative in entertaining. Like, I guess, what do you see for the future of Sarah Little Designs, if anything? Like, what do you see yourself doing?
I'd love to. So actually, I have a job right now that I'm really excited about. A friend of mine is opening a garden shop in New Canaan.
Oh, cool.
And he's using the space he does a lot of things. So some of the interior space is used he grows other things. But right now, like he's asked me to help him set up in the outside portion. He's going to sell Christmas stuff like greenery and planters. And so this is sort of where this job is kind of how I want things to move forward for me. So I've helped him design this outside space. I'm going to help him, hopefully, he's going to sell these planters for people to put out for the holidays, like with greenery and Christmassy stuff. Yeah. So like I will help style those and sell those. He's hoping, we'll see, it's all happening right now. So we're in the middle of figuring it out, but offer services to come out and do people's exterior holiday design, decorate your porch with all the Christmas greenery. And I'm hoping to help with that. So,
you'd like to do that too?
Like that's him and I are still developing like what this is all going to be, but that's like my passion, making things pretty.
Making things pretty is And do you enjoy doing like small little projects as opposed to longer term? Like, do you like to come in and do, like you said, like come into somebody's residence and do their homework and then be kind of done? Or I don't know if there's like longer term big project, but what's like your favorite type of project?
Something quick with people who are not crazy.
That would be ideal. So is it more like the decorate, like making things pretty?
Yeah.
Do you like to do food spread, or is it more like?
I think as things progress, yes, I'd love to just come in, like do holiday decor, style your dinner party, style your backyard for the summer. Actually, during COVID, it was funny. A lot of people from around the country called me. I did these Zoom calls, like with my cousin. It started with my cousin and a couple of friends, helping them just style their spaces. But it was during COVID when you couldn't get stuff and people were home. But I was giving advice. If I could do more of that, that's what I would like to pursue further.
I think that's cool. I mean, do you see a plan for yourself to kind of do it in a way? Because I know with a lot of design stuff, it requires you physically, or at least in the past, like being there. But is there a way you see doing it like you did the Zoom calls to kind of like offer your expertise? And I love your idea of the way you did kind of like the playbooks of sort of giving somebody ideas, because you could do that for like if I was like, oh my gosh, I know nothing about decorating my front. I get like two things. And Brian's always like, why did you put that on that stair? Or like everything on one stair. And I'm like, I don't know, because I have like literally no visual like creativity, but giving somebody ideas about what to get and then giving them a layout without having to leave your house. Like, do you think about that kind of like?
I am now. That's a great idea.
Well, I didn't know, because I didn't know if that was sort of like what you enjoy. Because obviously, if you take on those things, there's only one of you, unless you hired, people to kind of go out and see people's spaces and help them shop for stuff.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah. I mean, that, like, I like this playbook idea.
So, I just thought it was brilliant on your part because I'm always like, what can you do that like you could without you physically having to be there? Because I always think
Yeah.
with jobs where you're like the main person who's having to provide the service is a lot of work
Right.
to have to like see clients and things.
I guess like what I'm wrapping my head around is with like styling this garden center.
Mhm.
I get inspired by going out and shopping and visiting other spaces, and it's not something I could do. Well, I guess you always can look on the internet, but I like to be out in the world and get ideas from places. So like I'd say my aesthetic is very natural and neutral because I spend a lot of time. I'll visit farms, I'll go to garden stores, be outside. So I think that's reflected in like my aesthetic because that's my influence. Like whatever I'm surrounding myself with makes its way into my designs.
Right. Well, that's
If that
true.
makes
You
sense.
probably like to be out and seeing the stuff and doing.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have a plan time wise of when you would want to sort of pursue your side hustle a little more full time, or do you like it kind of just being able to work on stuff and incorporate more things like what you're doing for your friend and the new Canaan store and that kind of thing? Or do you have kind of a time frame in your head of I'd really like to work more on my brand and that kind of
No,
stuff?
I don't have a time frame. Part of the problem is I work full time and my job is very demanding. So some weeks I work more than 40 hours. I also have a robust social life. So
Yes, we
sometimes
know.
sometimes the side hustle stresses me out because it's like, oh, my friends are off at a fire pit. I want to go drink wine with my friends, but it's like, shit, I told someone I was going to get them this.
Yeah.
And, I end up working on the weekends or at night to get my own projects done. So I don't want to like grow it at this point. But I guess if I could find a way to really like monetize what I really love doing in a way or if I didn't have to contribute to the family expenses and my loans went away, then I'd have more flexibility and I would pursue that further. But until that point, if anyone at Locus is listening, I'm staying.
I'm staying. I'm not going anywhere. Well, I think you have a pretty great setup. I mean, really, because you get to
Thank you.
do things you're passionate about. You have a great life setup too, just in terms of where you live, and your job allows you to still be like creative and in the vein of what you love to do too. So it's kind of ideal all over. So I think that's great. I mean, I think the only thing I wanted to kind of close with are just like two more questions, and one is just for anybody and I feel like you have a lot going on. So anybody that is interested in a side hustle, starting something either in your space or just a side hustle in general, is there a tip? You don't have to do 5, but just any kind of like tips or advice you would give people who are interested in starting side hustles?
I think because it is a side hustle, so it requires extra time, make sure you're doing something that kind of naturally start with something you know well or someone you know well, whatever you're doing, providing a service or a thing, just something in your realm so that it can easily be incorporated in your everyday.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a struggle because you're not like trying to do something very different than what you're doing.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And then interior design, do you feel like that if somebody was listening and was like, I'm really interested, like I would love to try to start my own kind of thing where I have clients, when you were started Sarah Little Designs, like what is a tip to kind of get started? I guess the first thing that you would recommend to somebody.
It's really all who you know and them knowing what you do. Like I really in the beginning put myself out there on Instagram. A lot of people found me or people I knew realized what I did. I think never did advertising or people came to me because they knew what I did.
Right.
And the people that came to me were the people that I knew or knew people I knew, or it's just building that network, I think, is important and putting yourself out there.
That's good advice. And you use Instagram a lot. Do you have a website? I didn't notice if you had.
No, I bought the rights to one at one point and then I never filled it out. I was too busy.
Well, you have your Instagram. So would you say your main kind of driver of where you promote yourself would be Instagram? Is that
100%?
Yeah. Okay. So that leads me into my last question, which is not question, but just tell us where everybody can find you if anybody is looking to kind of follow you on that.
Well, on social media, I'm Sarah Little Designs. That is my design account. To be honest, I post more on my personal account, which is MZ Little of Harborview, where
so
it's more
fun.
my
That's
lifestyle.
I love it. That's like your lifestyle brand, which I think you should just
That's my
convert
life.
to a
I mean,
blog.
that's my kids and my garden and
Very cool.
my stock tank pool.
Which is that's right. I thought you had a separate account for the stock tank pool, but that was when I first met you, and you were like, if you want to see the stock tank pool. For anybody listening, the stock tank pool is really cool, and you can see it on the business review account on
MZ Little.
MZ Little.
Yeah, Ms. Little.
Ms. Little.
But yeah, that either there, and you can reach me on I respond to messages on those accounts if you have any questions.
That's awesome. And are you on LinkedIn too?
I am. Yes, I am on LinkedIn.
Then that's Sarah Little Designs, or are you just on LinkedIn?
I'm just Sarah Little.
Sarah Little. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much. That was great.
My pleasure. This was
I really
fun.
appreciate it. Oh, it was so fun. I love talking to you. And I think I feel like you have so many cool interests. I wish I had some interests like you.